सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. All right, Ranjani, it's yours.
Okay. 16 and 17. 16 is Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. So division of the Daiva and Asura qualities. Here Bhagavan says that there are these Daiva qualities and he actually outlines all of them. Fearlessness, purity of mind, steadfastness in spiritual knowledge, and so many more. And he also outlines the Asuric qualities. And there are gods who might have pure Daivic qualities, asuras who might have pure asuric qualities, but humans are a mix of both. And I think this is where they were saying that the entire Mahabharata, that war is placed right within our mind. So it was interesting to see that he's actually going into details about all of this. And in the asuric qualities, actually, he was saying that there are those who think that there is no God, this life is just what we have here, and they are motivated to do negative things. So here, of course, not only does he, outline these, but tells us how do we resolve the strife. And as Shashi ji kindly told us, that it is here, this chapter becomes very practical. How do we actually work on that? And what Swami Bhagavan says is that when you are confused, because the Daivik and the Asuric goes on in your head and you don't know what to do. When you don't know what to do, you use the Shastras as a guide. And Shastras, of course, might be complicated, but Bhagavan is kind enough to give that in a very condensed, very practical form in the Bhagavad Gita. Use that as the guide, and then your right actions will be evolved. And of course, while there are many Asuric qualities, Kama, Krodha, Lobha are the three of the very important ones that guides almost everything. If you could kind of control that, then I think you will be in a better shape. And I liked what Shashi ji specifically said, her own bhashyam, which was, how do we get over this Kama, Krodha, Lobha? And she said, divinize them. Kama, desire to be with the Lord. And she beautifully brought out that example of the Vamana where she said, give just 3 small feet of land to the Lord, and the Lord will enter and then take over your body and really, fill it with beautiful desires. Krodha, she talked about Krodha as become angry like Lakshmana. That is when you have to oppose those that are opposing dharma. That is the only time you can get angry. Lobha, wanting to be more in satsanga. So these were beautiful things. So divinize everything, your negative qualities, and then you shall have some positivity. It said that was a very, 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 very practical tip that she gave. And ended with really important to be alert always. Think before we act and do not procrastinate. So I think there were these 2 things, thoughtless action and actionless thought. That is, you do without thinking, you do something that could lead to problems. And also you have all these good thoughts to do good work, but you just are like, I don't have time to do that. Both of them are equally to be avoided, is what she said. Then we go to the chapter 17, which is Shraddha Vibhaga Yoga. That is, everything in this chapter is divided into 3. And the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas gunas are really articulated in many ways. Shraddha itself, what is Shraddha? We think of it as faith, but it's really kind of the framework that defines all that we do in life. It is the cause of the action and the motivator of the action. And it has been classified into 3 types, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Whether it is guna, the food, everything that we do, is being classified by Bhagavan into those 3 groups. And when he talks about Shraddha, even atheism is a Shraddha, as in a belief, a framework. And whatever you do, you are motivated by that. There are those where the Sattva Guna is very predominant. Those are people, of course, that's where we want to be, aspire to be, balance, harmony, all these kinds of things. I thought this picture was kind of cute. Rajas, very activity driven. And tamas, of course, inert. I was reading Eknath Ishwaran's work where he was saying, tamas is like, frozen ice, piece of ice. Rajas is water flowing but uncontrolled, and sattva is actually controlled water that can do good in the world. Again, what they say in that chapter is that there are three things that, and these three words come often in the Gita, which is yajna, dana, and tapa. So again, each of that can be classified into three groups. So yajna is again our goals. There are sattvic goals, to be with God, to do great things. Rajasic goals for personal gain. Tamasic goals to actually create negative energy in this world. What we eat also can influence our action. Food is also classified. In fact, Bhagwan goes into great detail about what is a sattvic food, rajasic food, and tamasic food. And our actions, tapa, are also in these groups. In fact, our charity is also in these three categories. And he says that very clearly, that if people are doing good, and that's how actually this chapter begins, right? Arjuna asking that question, what if they are doing good, but they are not into the scriptures? And that's when Swami says that this is how, it's complicated, as Shashi ji said. And so those that do good for the sake of doing good without expecting any returns, again, that's sattva. Then those that are actually doing good, but because they want to be, known for their name, their things come up somewhere, that is more rajasic. And tamasic is actually, supporting terrorism, as Shashi ji said. So always we should aim to be at sattva, and again, be aware that these three gunas are in us. The more we encourage the sattva and do everything in that way, we will be hopefully going towards moksha. So that's what I understood from this, and really, really enjoyed. As Shashi ji said, 16th and 17th, most practical chapter. She said, we should have started to read that first. And I really felt, personally, I think one of the comments that came out at the end is, don't be judgmental, because everybody has these qualities. We all have sattva in us, we all have rajas, tamas, and if we can be alert and enhance our sattva, then we can go a lot away.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much, Ranjani. Well captured. And I love all those cartoons. I think it really conveys what we want to, when you see pictures, it connects even better. So thank you so much. I loved it. Starting the chapter, the 18th chapter, the last chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, called the Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. And in this is actually the longest chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. It has 78 shlokas. Obviously, we're not going to do all the 78 shlokas. We'll be here till the end of summer. But it addresses many topics and themes of the Gita, and also ties up a lot of loose ends as well. So what you've already heard, you might feel like, I'm hearing it again, but it'll reinforce our, thinking. And summarizing everything, we sort of get a good, what is called a simhavalokana. Our Acharya would always say a lion would walk a little distance and then as though turn back to see if his, herd is right behind him. Like that, you just get a good view of what's, was taught as well. And then it's, again, all these chapters are very practical, and it covers every aspect of our life and what we're going through right now and where we want to get. Everything is beautifully covered in this chapter. So as Ranjani ji summarized our 17th chapter, Shraddha, tapas, yajna, and dana happens in our life regularly. Okay, tapas was where we conserve our energy, that is life of self-discipline, sense control, and mind control. And then what we do, I'm just giving it like for us to connect with us, we simplify life so that we can give more and more time and energy to where it is needed. That simplifying life, doing that self-discipline comes under tapas. Then you have to use it in the right direction. So use the energy, conserve the time you gain in the activities that you really want to get involved. Most, of course, here, selfless action is what is advocated for us. And then when we get the results, clearly keeping in mind that everything does not happen just because of me. I've had so many things contributing to my success. We share it. So you can look at it as dana as well. So really, we all know that life is impossible in isolation. And Bhagavan tells all of us that yajna, dana, tapas, meaning that self-control, that, selfless karma, plus that dana, or this sharing of the results with everybody, please don't give it up, Bhagavan is saying, because they make our mind calm, they make our mind quiet, calling it purifiers. Most important, remember, he's talking to Arjuna who wanted to run away from the battlefield. And so he's telling, no, 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 don't do that. Do your karma in the right spirit, with this right attitude. You yourself will become so much more calm. You'll get clarity in your thinking and you'll be able to act properly. So now for all of us in this chapter, right, again, Bhagwan begins from where exactly we are. That is meaning all of us are in the midst of action. We're all doing our duties. We're all doing, whether it's at home, whether it's at workplace, whether it's in the community, we're all action-based life we're leading, right? Now, so our actions are based upon whatever knowledge I've gathered, maybe watching my parents, watching my teachers, gaining, from all my education and everything, and also from, some deep-seated desires, vasanas, which have come with me for a while. So now my actions are based on that, my knowledge and my vision. But we all know that what Bhagwan wants for us through all these actions, whatever we are doing, is understanding our true nature. That we are that pure consciousness, eternal, that happiness and infinitude is my nature. Bhagwan wants us to have a clear understanding through even as we act, as we do our actions, right? He wants us to gain knowledge. So what will happen if I do understand this? Right here in this life, if I understand and I'm absolutely comfortable with that wisdom, what happens when I understand that, I'm totally fulfilled. In this life itself, I'm totally content, fulfilled. My place of peace and strength, I already understand that it's within me then. So, as I've told many times, we work from a place of happiness and fulfillment rather than for happiness and fulfillment. Right now, all my actions is for happiness. All my actions are for fulfillment. Nothing wrong. But let these actions take me to a place where I understand I work from a place of happiness and fulfillment. So what will happen then? What do I see as a result of this? If I understand, if I work in this manner, there's so much clarity in our thinking. There is integration in my personality. My actions become beautiful because there's no ambivalence, no doubt. I know what to pursue, what not to pursue. And then not only that, I'll be able to face all challenges which life brings. It just will bring, because I don't have control over the external environment, external situations. But what I have control is how I face them with equanimity, with balance. I respond to life situations. I face life as it comes. This is where Bhagwan is taking us, but from where we are right now, as we do our duties. So in this chapter 18, of course, the ultimate goal, once again, will be reinforced. And as I said, our actions, I've never seen such analysis of actions before. It's as though taking action, this person who's doing the action, all their intentions, motivations, everything, the results which come out of it, putting it in the laboratory and analyzing it. So that, and we'll see what he'll take us to afterwards when we analyze in this manner, what are we going to get? We'll see that as well. And so after that's analyzed, our actions are analyzed thoroughly, he focuses once again on our attitude in action. That he once again brings the Varnashrama again. And also the caste system once again. That is, attitude is what matters. He once again points that out and makes you a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. Okay, and it's not like that's set in stone. He'll also show how we move in our thinking to the highest attitude. And most important, in and through all this, he says, do your swadharma. Whatever your inclination, personality is, please do that, because that itself will lead you to that final goal, he says. Bhakti and jnana are inseparable, is the culmination towards the culmination. He comes to that. And in the end, you will love, Krishna's instructions, because look at the teacher. After teaching so much with patience, he gives the final choice to Arjuna. He says, I've said what all I have to say, Arjuna. I hope your doubts are clarified and, your thinking is now good, but the choice is yours. You do what you think is best. Which compassionate teacher wouldn't do this? You tell me. Such a teacher is this great teacher. Krishna, he leaves it to us. So now what are all the analysis of our actions? Today, that's all we're going to look, because it's, and as I said, it's an elaborate chapter. And here he analyzes our actions based on these things, based on our knowledge, all the way to the results. And then as we analyze, we diagnose, we just keep this for ourselves. This is for us to introspect. And then we say, where am I in this, in my knowledge? Where am I in the way I act? What are my intentions as I'm acting? How do I feel? And then is there clarity in my thinking, that understanding? Do I have that type of fortitude? And then what am I gaining out of all this? Right? So you diagnose, put ourselves in the category wherever he's going to show us. And then we'll see if we have to make any fine tuning, making any adjustments, making any movements. We'll see that. So the remedy is also given right there. And analysis of all these are, of course, based on whether it's sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. That's all there is. Sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. And so you'll see the connection through all these. You'll see every one of them are interconnected. And for us, tweaking up is what we have to do. If you're already in sattvic type of thing, we are well on the way to understand our true nature, because we're studying the Gita, which has been telling us about our true nature as well. So, but before that, Arjuna has a question. So please repeat after me. Arjuna uvacha
अर्जुन उवाच
sannyasya mahabaho
सन्न्यासस्य महाबाहो
tattvamichhami veditum
तत्त्वमिच्छामि वेदितुम्
yagasya cha hrishikesha
त्यागस्य च ऋषिकेश
पृथक्केशि निषूदना.
पृथक् केशिनिषूदन.
Here Arjuna is addressing Krishna in 3 names in this one shloka. He says Mahabaho, he calls him. He says Hrishikesha, and then he says Keshi Nishudana. 3 names for Bhagwan, very sort of symbolic, but let's see what it is. He says, I've heard you talk about this sannyasa, tyaga, so many times so far, Bhagwan. What is the difference? Both of them seem like similar words, renunciation, right? But you seem to use it differently. I remember even in the 5th chapter, you did something different. But I'm hearing something different even here. Can you please clarify that? And the 3 names he calls, he says, Keshi Nishudana means Bhagwan had killed a demon. His name was Keshi. So simple meaning is you killed Keshi, okay? Being Mahabaho means you're mighty. All right, you're mighty. And then being Rishikesha, you were mighty. Why? Because you had that self-discipline, self-control. So all energy was conserved. But Bhagwan, because you had conserved your energy being Rishikesha, you were a Mahabaho. You were mighty because you had so much energy to channelize in the right places. Because of that energy, that power, you're able to destroy the demon Keshi. Okay, if you want to take the simple meaning of all this. But you see, a person who has mastery of the senses is the one who's able to have a lot of conservation of energy, therefore power now. And when you have such power alone, we can overcome all negativities. For us, our troubling ego has to be subdued completely. In that sense, it's essentially destroyed. Ego will be there when you have to still work in the world, but it's not troublesome ego anymore. The troublesome ego is that ego, that Keshi you want to take care of. And for that, we have to be really not an easy battle for us. We have to be Mahabahos, all of us. And we will become Mahabahos if we are able to conserve and channelize our energy so that we can use it when we need it most, is what this meaning is. Just the use of these 3 names. How beautiful, to give us some important message here. But now Bhagwan says, I'll tell you the meaning of sannyasa and tyaga. Now you keep this because it's going to show us the path and the goal in this. Okay, so tyaga will be used in reference to the path, and sannyasa will be the goal that we humans have to get to right while we live here. And so, what is this tyaga? Any self centered desires, we should give up. Actions which come out of self centered, selfish desires should be given up, right? And then when you act only in the present moment, giving your best, after having planned out your action, you're no longer worried about the goal. I mean, the results, because you're going to do your very best in that moment. When you do your very best, that itself is a satisfaction, right? So giving up the desire prompted karmas, as well as hankering after those results, when that's given up, we are 100% in the present. That is karma yoga. You know that, right? Bhagwan is saying Tyaga is actually karma yoga in a sense, where we do our best in the present moment, not being anxious about anything in the past that we have done, and also remembering that whatever actions I do are my duties. I do it in a selfless manner, and then when I've done my best, that itself is a satisfaction. I know then whatever results will come will come. So this attitude, he calls it tyaga here. Okay. And then what is sannyasa then? Now, when we keep repeatedly doing this type of actions of tyaga, karma yoga, mind becomes very quiet. When the mind becomes very quiet, through knowledge, I'll understand I am actually that Satchidananda. My nature is that pure consciousness. Pure consciousness does not get involved in any actions. All these instruments are functioning, my mind, my intellect, my body, everything is functioning. But without pure consciousness, nothing will happen. I actually am that pure consciousness. That means I'm akarta abhokta. I'm not doing anything. I'm not enjoying anything. I'm here in my presence. Everything is that understanding comes. When you understand that you are that akarta abhokta, pure consciousness, that is sannyasa. Okay. So this is the goal. This is what I want to achieve while I'm still here. Because then in my presence, everything's acting. Electricity is giving light to this light bulb. To this computer, it is giving, that energy to function. To my cooktop, it'll give that heat. To the fan, it'll give it the ability to turn. Similarly, that consciousness is in me. Akarta, abhokta. It's not turning like a fan, or it's not, heating up things. Nothing. But in its presence, only everything happens. In the presence of this life-giving principle, that is me, only body is functioning, mind is functioning, my equipments, all the breathing, lungs, heart, everything is functioning. So we'll understand that. And then when we understand, remember what I told you, we will be able to, all those things will happen. Work from a place of happiness, fulfillment, clarity in thinking. That's the result. So Bhagwan just clarifies, so that Arjuna understands what is tyaga and what is, sannyasa. So after that, now Bhagwan is going to talk a lot about karma, actions, all the various participants as well as the aspects of karma. So in the initial view, don't get too confused, and just you've heard it, that's important. But then as we divide the various components into sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, let's pay close attention and see where we are, what adjustments we need to make. Okay. Adhishtanam tatha karta
अधिष्ठानं तथा कर्ता
karanam cha pratigvidham
करणं च प्रतिग्विधं
vividascha prutak cheshta
विविधाश्च पृथक् चेष्टा
daivam chaivatra panchamam.
दैवं चैवात्र पञ्चमम्.
He says, look, every action, for any action to happen, 5 factors are needed. A physical presence is needed. An ego which says, I'm going to do this action, that is a karta, is needed. We need, mind, intellect, hands, legs, everything. Karanam is needed. We have to have, lungs should be functioning, heart should be functioning, all that should be, activity should be going on. And on top of it, he says, you don't have everything under control. So there's another aspect which sort of creeps into our actions, which is daivam. We know that we might have put forth all our best efforts with all this, but something else, sometimes the results is not exactly what we want, right? That is daivam. You can call it God, you can call it luck, you can call it grace, unseen hand, doesn't matter. So all these are needed. You've heard it once, just keep this in mind. Then, if you, as I said before, that sannyasa is when not understanding, I'm not the one, that is Satchidananda is not the one, it's the instruments which are functioning. Therefore, I'm not the actor, neither am I enjoying those results. It's happening in the mind, it's happening in the tongue, it's happening in that's it, right? So, no, doership and enjoyship, if I don't associate with that, but I'm that Satchidananda, then we are liberated. But if I strongly feel I'm the one, I should get the results, I have to enjoy this, I am doing all the activities, then what happens? We get caught in the karma cycle. So now, then, Bhagwan, why are you asking us to perform karmas? If you say we're going to get caught in it, can't I just remain akarta, bhokta, Satchidananda Asma? He says, no, Arjuna, you're not there. You all Arjunas, he tells us, you're not yet there. You perform well right now so that you can achieve that goal. So that's very important. So don't think you'll get there right away. Now, again, he's going to classify some more things. Again, we've heard it once. We'll have to spend time to go into details of all this, but you've heard it once is what I want to show. Jnanam Gneyam Parijnata.
Jnanam Gneyam Parijnata.
Trividha Karma Chodana.
Trivida Karma Chodana.
Karanam Karma Karteti.
Karanam Karma Karteti.
Trividah Karma Sangraha.
Trivida Karma Sangraha.
So he says, look, what is that which prompts everybody to act? You might say desire, Bhagwan, desire, right? That's why I act. He says, no, it's not as simple. Karma Chodana means prompter of actions within each one of us is, the vision that we have acquired of this life as we are growing, gaining experiences, what we've seen, what we've learned, that vision we have, right? That's one thing. Again, sometimes it can be something directly in front of us, the objects in front of us which cause that. And my inherent personality, what I've come with. I just don't know why my grandson does not like vegetables at all. No fruits, no vegetables. Where did that come from? So, some samskaras and vasanas we are born with. All that prompts our desires. So these three things are called karma chodana. You've heard it once. The desires which arise because of visions, or it can be an object right in front, or it might be my personalities, what is inbuilt in me, those vasanas, which I am carrying from previous births. And then every action will have this doer, that is the ego, there'll be an instruments and the action itself. That is called karma sangraha. Bhagwan has analyzed every aspect of karma because he wants us to understand this is what you're doing every day, my dear, he says. And so may you have clarity in this so that you can perform to the best and get to me. That's why all these details, okay? Now let's see. Going back, we are going to analyze this now. Whether this sattvic actions, rajasic actions, or tamasic actions, and we'll go through knowledge, the action itself, me, the doer, what is my understanding, and we'll clarify between knowledge and understanding. We'll see what is that which helps me pursue and complete that action, that dhriti, and what is the result. Everything classified under sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Now I want to tell you something. For each one of them, there's a shloka on sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. I'm not going to go over all of that. You will just go with the sattvic ones, but I'll do mention what will be rajasic and tamasic in each one of them as far as the interpretation for us to guide. But we can, at leisure, read those shlokas as well, or when we do Gita in detail, that might be another opportunity to look at each one of the shlokas. Okay, but now you're getting a good understanding of what is Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. We'll use only the Sattvic shlokas. सर्वभूतेषु येनैकम्
सर्वभूतेषु येनैकम्
भावम् अव्ययमीक्षते
भावम् अय्यम् ईक्षते
भावम् अव्ययम् ईक्षते. It's okay.
भावम् अव्ययम् ईक्षते.
Very good. अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु
अविभक्तं विभक्तेषु
अज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम्.
तज्ज्ञानं विद्धि सात्विकम्.
All right. So I hope you can see the table, Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic types of knowledge, because based on that only, our actions would be. Now the Sattvic is the highest jnana. So right away, there is a feeling of connection with everybody. Okay, this oneness means, let's see, we're all humans, right? That feeling is already there. Or that person might have even extended beyond and understood there's a oneness in all living creatures, in all living beings. In spite of seeing all the differences, that's already there. That unity in diversity is there, right? And this person, what they look for is common good. And they look for what is common in everything. So if there's a person who actually sees people with different religions, right? They say, what's the common factors in all these religions? They look for things like that. And if there are any conflicts anywhere, right, their tendency is to resolve the conflicts and to bring integration. This is the type of vision they always have, whether it's in a family, whether it's in an organization, whether it's in a community, even the nation, to bring integration and not division. This is their vision, knowledge. So what happens, very easy for them to identify with somebody's suffering, somebody's problems. So they work for a common good of everybody because this is their knowledge. Okay, this is Sattvic. Now what about Rajasic? Rajasic, they just can't help it. They focus only on differences. So people, that religion, this group, that nationality, right? And when you have that, there is no doubt we'll have likes and dislikes. I like this, I don't like them, I like this one. This is very common because when it's divided, it's natural that they'll have likes and dislikes. And so what happens all the time, division alone is strengthened. That divisive vision alone is strengthened. And so you can't be very objective in your view when you're looking at a job. It's not going to be your action, it won't be an objective, it's coming from your subjective view, what you've already colored, the colored glasses that we are wearing is Rajasic knowledge, right? And Tamasic vision completely messed up, right? They take part as the whole thing. They've not even looked at everything, only little fragments they observe and they take it as totality. For example, they've statements like this, money is everything, okay? Absolutely, you need power, otherwise forget it, you can't do it. This is the type of taking part for the whole. So from such views alone comes fanaticism, whether it's religious or political, because they've taken part for the whole. My view, my point of view, my religion, my ideas, right? And not only that, leads to a lot of their views lead to a lot of calamities. In India, the practice of the dowry system, and where, young girls and women are tortured, comes from a Tamasic knowledge, Tamasic vision. That is Tamasic. So, we see whether most of us sometimes, fall into the Rajasic category and then we can move to Sattvic. Very, very few people in our group will fall into the Tamasic category. But these things are for us to reflect on. So this is Sattvic knowledge, Rajasic knowledge, Tamasic knowledge. Everything will follow suit. You'll see that. Now, the next one will be, of course, about the actions. Again, only Sattvic. That's all I've taken. There is definitely a shloka Bhagavan gives for Rajasic as well as Tamasic. Niyatam sangarahitam
नियतं सङ्गरहितम्
अरागद्वेषतः कृतम्
अरागतेष्वतः कृतम्
अपलप्रेप्सुना कर्म
अफलप्रेप्सुना कर्म
यत्तत् सात्विकमुच्यते.
यत्तत् सात्विकमुच्यते.
Again, now this is the action. When they're doing their action, their duty, what it is, they have absolute clarity, right? Because they have that vision of oneness, they know where they what their duties are, so there's no doubt about it. So they will do their job. It's my duty. What personal likes and dislikes here? I have to do my duty, right? So there's then no attachment to results, because if they do their duty, as I said, that itself is a satisfaction. So doing their duty without likes and dislikes, having clarity on that, that is their action. And their actions will always be concerned with not just themselves, but their actions is concerned with welfare of all. And when they do this, their focus will be on maximum happiness for maximum people for maximum time. This is actually Chinmay Mission. Sorry. Statement: maximum happiness for maximum people for maximum time. Only with the sattvic vision would it be possible. So the way I'm happy is when others are happy. This is all their actions are, related to that. Rajasic becomes a little bit more selfish. Not little bit more, comes from selfishness. How will I gain from this? What are my personal gains, and happiness is the focus. And when that becomes prominent, we can see it will definitely lead to conflict in the families and conflict in the communities, because they will tread on other people's shoes when they do that. My, when that is most prominent, their actions will lead to divisions as well. And tamasic karmas, forget it. No consideration or consequences about the consequences of action. Absolutely no thought. Even if there's loss of energy, loss of money, loss of time, loss of relationship, is it really worth it? You try to put some sense, does not even make sense to them as they perform these actions. They don't consider that it might cause harm to others. And they don't even take into consideration whether they have the ability, one's own ability to do something, no idea about it. They take up such actions. So you can see the result will be such terrible with tamasic karmas coming from a tamasic knowledge. Connection should not be forgotten, right? So prompted by sattvic knowledge, karmas will be sattvic. Prompted by rajasic knowledge, actions will be rajasic. And so also in the same way, tamasic knowledge lead to tamasic karmas. Now you see, what about the doer, I, that ego who's doing the action, who says, I'm doing this action? What is their attitude? What is their, which category do they fall? Again, the sattvika here only that we are talking about. Mukta sango anaham vadi.
Mukta sango anaham vadhi.
Dhrityutsaha samanvitaha.
Dhrityutsaha samanvitaha.
Siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha.
Siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha.
Karta satvika uchyate.
Karta satvika uchyate.
Now, the sattvic person, the doer, again, you can see all those are falling in line. They're only concerned on performing their duties well. That is their main focus. So I am doing this action, I want the result, is not at all, most prominent in them. That is kept to a minimum as they give their 100% energy to the task at hand. And how is there, this person who's acting, they are endowed with tremendous patience, tremendous enthusiasm. They will not stop till the work is done. And also, if sometimes they get whatever, it succeeds or not is not the thing. Have I done my best? Have I given my best to this? That is their thing. That is their most important attitude. They are not disturbed whether they succeed or not. It's the doing the best is the most important for them. Okay. Whereas Rajasic, doer, very invested in that, if I don't get this, what will happen? That is mostly preoccupying their mind. And so what happens when they get what they want, they're over-related. When they don't get what, they're terribly depressed down into the depths. So these emotional swings are very big in them. So to pick themselves up when things don't go their way, very hard for them. Very hard. So you see their energy is not fully available to the task at hand. Huh? Whereas what about a tamasic karta is impulsive, very, very stubborn, want their way only and nothing else. And then, even when they're shown, hey, this might not be the right way, they won't take any advice, and neither are they ready to change. And Bhagwan uses some really harsh words for them. If you look at that, he says they're foolish and wicked, he calls them. He says they're cruel and they're lazy. No, they procrastinate. And he calls them Dirga Sutri. I love that word for procrastination. Dirga Sutri means a string which is very long. And the procrastinators. Tamasic, kartas, this is their, the actions are all based on their personality. It's like this. They make such wrong decisions, right? So now Bhagwan has used two words here to define a sattvic karta. One he says is dhriti. You see that buddhi, he'll call it, we'll see buddhi as well, but he also calls, there's a term he uses here, dhriti. So now he's going to classify even that because he says that's important. So he says, what is it? We must wonder, buddhi means, isn't it knowledge that we've already heard before? That, with that knowledge only everybody, those, whether it's sattvic, rajasic or tamasic person acts. But he says, added to that, there's another factor which we should remember, right? In the two, buddhi and this dhriti are needed for anyone to perform action. What is this buddhi? If my vision is, I want oneness, right? That's true. But how do I execute that vision? I might have all these noble visions, right? But if I don't know the knowledge, I don't have that knowledge to execute it, what's the use? That buddhi, common sense, that ability to discriminate properly between what is right and wrong, all that is needed at the time. Vision might be great. Knowledge might be, that knowledge I might be carrying in my head. And, so let's see when I have a great vision of starting something. But I have to work with so many people with so many different temperaments, right? How do I work with them all? How do I make sure that my vision of that integration, that oneness, how do I bring that into action? That buddhi is very important. It's like somebody like me just coming out of med school and taken to the first patient. You're pretty anxious and nervous because you don't know how to put it right away into practice. We need to be trained in that as well. So how to use my skills that I have also actually is a very important thing. That discrimination and discretion is important. And also what happens if there are lots of problems which will come up. I have a great vision of oneness. Excuse me, deal with this problem. What is the first thing you have to tackle? What instruction should I give to the team when such obstacles come? That right thinking, that is the buddhi that Bhagwan is talking here. If you want to do any action, please also have this proper buddhi here. So he says how to adjust, how to make changes, how to use a common sense at the right time so that we make our vision happen. We make the actions which the vision which we want to translate into action. For that we need proper thinking. Is that buddhi Bhagwan is talking here? So now again he'll talk about, let's not read the second one, Rajasi buddhi. We'll only look at the Sattviki buddhi only. Pravrittincha nivrittincha
pravritim nivrittim cha
karya karye bhaya bhaye
कार्यकार्ये भयाभये
बन्धं मोक्षं च या वेत्ति
बन्धं मोक्षं च या वेत्ति
बुद्धिः सा पार्थ सात्विकी.
बुद्धिः सा पार्थ सात्विकी.
Hey Partha, Satviki Buddhi is this. Huh? And I'll tell you also about Rajasic and Tamasic, says Krishna. We should know what actions we want to engage in and what we should not. Actually, that's a very important thing. Is this my duty? Or, take up everything. Hey, I'll join you. I'll help you in this. I'll take care of this. Know your limits, please. That requires clarity in our thinking. Will this help you? The most important thing for all of us is to see how it's going to help me move on this path, to quieten my mind, to bring more and more single pointedness, to expand my vision. These are the things that should be in the back of our mind. I have to do my duty at home, my attitude at home, clear, that no escape. But what I engage myself in society with others also is very important. Even at home, certain things let go. It doesn't, there's no need for that. So that clarity should be there. That is the buddhi I need. And then when we take up something new, certain things, we should be a little careful. Joining a team which you have no idea and you want to invest money where you're not done homework, better be careful. That is a fear, types of fear we should have. Where I should say, no, this is right. I want to pursue this. I will make sure it happens. I'm not afraid of any obstacles. We should have clarity in that. And what's the type of action? If I get caught in it, I'll be caught in this cycle because I'll be looking for things, or I'll be getting caught in too many unnecessary activities, and that means I get caught in a web, and that means once again my mind is not at ease, mind is not peaceful, I feel bound again. All those should be very clear. Will it help me on my path which I'm moving towards, to my quietude of mind, my focus, my concentration, my ability to expand my vision to include more people? So that buddhi should be clear. Whereas rajasic, always vagueness and ambiguity about everything, because there's too much excitement, lack of clarity in thinking, and therefore sometimes they can make decisions easily. And tamasic, forget it. These people doubts about everything at all times, and in fact they misunderstand all the instructions, and sometimes what is wrong they take it as right. This is their buddhi, and so they complicate problems for others and for themselves. What is a simple thing, they pursue wrong solutions and complicate things. This is tamasic. So sattvic, jnanam in the beginning, the karma then becomes sattvic, and then a buddhi also should be sattvic. Then I also am the sattvic karta, the person who's acting. And then comes dhriti, which is patience and fortitude. To see something that we've taken up from infancy to happen, it'll take years, what to talk of our spiritual path. So that is also, it'll take time to have that patience, to pursue that fortitude is a dhriti, and that also Bhagwan will classify as sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Now, what will help us to get to a sattvic vision? What will help us to get to the goal of life? Depends upon our dhriti. Dhritya yaya dharayate
धृत्या यया धारयते
manah pranendriya kriyaah
मनः प्राणेन्द्रियक्रियाः
योगेनाभ्यभिचारिण्या योगेना
योगेन
अव्यभिचारिण्या
अव्यभिचारिण्या
धृतिः सा पार्थ सात्विकी.
धृतिः सा पार्थ सात्विकी.
Again, what is that fortitude? What again, how does Bhagavan divide this? So what happens? The person who self-disciplines themselves. Self-discipline is freedom. Think about it. Self-discipline is freedom. So one who self-disciplines them will remain steady on the path. So although we might not see success right away, it does not happen right away. You start something with a good intention, it takes a while. Start even a company to make profits, it'll take a while. What to talk about this, things with the right vision. It might not happen right away, but to hold on and say, nope, I'm going to do this because I know this is the right thing. And so patiently pursuing it through in and through obstacles, overcoming them with patience, never losing sight of that goal. This is sattvic dhriti. You see the dhruti even in rajasic people because they want to achieve big things in life and ambitions, personal ambitions. Oh, they'll have a great stamina. So they are also very well motivated for their power, for their pleasure, for their benefit. You do see that dhruti. They're very firm. They'll not budge till they get their goal. But for what reasons we know. And then what about tamasic dhriti? What is that? Uh, let's do it tomorrow. Okay. Ah, what a nice thing. It'll all happen in time. Let me think. Oh, when this happens, the milkmaid story. Tamasic dhruti, they want to do, they procrastinate, they will hold on to wrong ideas, right? And then they're not able to control their emotions. They keep grief long, long time after things have passed. They're not able to come back again to work, right? And then they hold on to arrogance, get dejected very quickly, right? And foolish ideas and notions will direct uh, their motivation even to work, whether they want to do it or not, sometimes lost because of their ideas and notions which are wrong that they hold on to, right? So now you see, why do we do all these? All our actions are only for happiness. Whether it's a rajasic person for power, pleasure, whether it's a tamasic person who wants to laze around and hold on to wrong ideas, yes, even if they're holding on for wrong ideas, they want happiness through that. A rajasic person, through following self-centered, wants happiness ultimately. A sattvic person also wants that sattvic happiness, wants to remain in that undisturbed place of ease and strength. So now Bhagavan says even that happiness is also of three kinds: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, because it's based on everything. But all of us ultimately, remember, we are marching towards that ultimate happiness. So now let's see what this happiness of the three types are. Yattad agre vishamiva
Yattat agre vishamiva
pariname mrutopamam
pariname mritopamam
tat sukham satvikam proktam
tat sukham satvikam proktam
atma buddhi prasadajam.
atma buddhi prasadajam.
So happiness, which is more and more quietened, more and more turned towards our true nature, right? So that there's, because of knowledge, which because of certain giving up of things and not focusing on results, our love for Bhagwan, our meditation, our satsang, that peace that comes to us is sattvic happiness. Mind become turned more and more towards the Lord, means to that Bhagwan right here. So mind has become calm, mind has become quiet. We move more and more close to our place of that happiness and strength. And slowly we start seeing, slowly, that we are not dependent on another person, their moods and their words and their, things to upset me or make me happy. All right. Sthane Rishikesha. Situations, they don't churn us like before. Objects, that craving everything has gone. So that dependency, that slavery on those things has gone for my happiness. Independently joyous, independently at peace now. This is sattvic happiness. And rajasic, of course, getting the things they want. Ah, nice, car has come into my garage now, or another new, whatever you want to say. More profit in the bank and my stock going up. I don't know. I mean, we all feel happy about that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but they go up and down with that, right? So what they don't realize is any of those things which come will have an end. right? So what gives you great joy will also can cause problems. So also they are not at peace because it's not satisfied. That they got all this is not the satisfaction for them. There's something more. And so once again, desire rises. Once again, there's a disturbance in the mind. So Rajasic happiness is that. Going up and down, up and down, up and down. And as far as tamasic happiness is concerned, from the beginning, it's completely confused, delusion. Okay? And what happens to these people, I'll just tell you, sleep, laziness, their joy is from that. Procrastinating, not doing the things at time, they feel it's okay, and then they feel good about it. So remember that thoughtless action and actionless thought sort of come into these two categories, right? Postponing, procrastinating, and that itself, not doing anything, is giving them happiness, laziness. Huh? So illusory, these are illusions because none of them is going to last. Illusion means not that you're not experiencing it, but it won't last. In Vedanta, always remember, illusion means that which does not last, which changes. So this is tamasic happiness. So now you see, Bhagwan has analyzed every aspect of what we do every day, starting with our motivation, starting with our mental framework, our understanding as we do these, our abilities, and then what our focus is on and the results we get, how best we function at that time, so that we can look and we can be alert again and we can make adjustments, tweak things. This is so that we can get to our goal. Nowhere has anybody in any other text analyzed our what we do every day in this manner so that we can get to the best place and do the very best to any task at hand as we just navigate towards that goal. All based on our own mental makeup of our gunas, the moods that we have, which and which affect every aspect of our personality. So beautifully Bhagwan has analyzed for us. We will see further in the next session as we conclude the chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita. So let's all remember, none of us are free of the gunas of Prakriti. All of us have mixture of sattvic, rajasic, tamas. So no need to look down upon others or anything. All this is only for self-analysis. And very important to have the right type of buddhi as well, right type of dhriti as well. Otherwise, we ourselves suffer. We undergo. Why do you go have stress? We can sort of look at all this and see how we can eliminate that unnecessary stress in life. A little bit of stress is physiological, meaning it's needed. Okay, but are we unnecessarily stressing to harm our physical body and our mental environment? Think about it. So we should know how to bring a good, fantastic vision into action. So we have to achieve things and let everything be sattvic so that we move also in this goal of life. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.